Hey guys, what's good? Derek here from B.O.M Socks with more B.O.M Bites, where we feast upon the words of Christ one bite at a time. So yesterday I brought up this idea that Jesus takes something that is undesirable and he turns it into something of great value. He did that with the purification water, the water that you wash your hands with and your feet with, and he turns it into the best wine for people. So he continues this in chapter 2. If you keep going, right about verse 12 or so, it talks about how Jesus went down to Capernaum. He, his mother, and his brethren, and his disciples, they continued not many days. The Passover time was at hand, and Jesus went up to Jerusalem and found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves and the changers of money sitting. This is a very popular story that a lot of people are familiar with. Verse 15, when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple, and the sheep and the oxen. And he poured out the changers' money and overthrew the tables, and said unto them that sold doves, Take these things hence, make not my Father's house an house of merchandise. And so you're familiar with this story, and it's interesting. All you got to do is Google search John 2, these verses, and you see some crazy pictures of Jesus who just looks angry. And a lot of people will use this story to be able to say, yep, here's the anger of Jesus Christ. And sometimes I've even seen people utilize this to justify the reasoning for getting angry in your life. It's like, Jesus did it, and so can we. Now, what's interesting in this story is, and I think this is one of the more misunderstood stories, just from my opinion, but nowhere in this story does it say that Jesus is angry. Nowhere does it say, and it came to pass that Jesus was mad. It does not say that. The word that I think that really expresses how Jesus feels is actually down in verse 17. It says, His disciples remembered that it was written, The zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. And so that's the only word. It doesn't show anger. There's no exclamation points in this story. You don't see Jesus just angry. The word is zeal, and I think zeal is an interesting word here, and it's actually that's referenced back to the Old Testament. Now, if you click on the word zeal, it takes you to all kinds of fun definitions. It talks about passion, zealousness, which again, part of zeal, committedness, ardor, love, fervor, fire, avidity, fondness, devotion, enthusiasm, eagerness, keenness, appetite, taste, relish, gusto, vigor, energy, verve, zest, fervency, and ardency. And the antonyms are apathy and indifference. So if I was to look at an emotion that Jesus shows here, he is showing passion. He is showing love. He is showing devotedness. He is showing committed. And what is he committed to? He is committed to his Father's house. Now, I remember back, a couple years ago, this is when this kind of hit me, is when COVID hit and we're all sitting there. We haven't been able to attend the temple. I think there was a time period of, I think it was 16 or 17 months that I had not had a chance to be able to attend the temple. And I found myself I wanted to go. I really wanted to go to the temple, and I couldn't do it. So the emotions that were there for me were passion. It was fire. It's I really want to do this. Did Jesus go in there with anger? I don't think so. I do believe Jesus went into there with zeal. Zeal for his Father's house. Now, when I think of zeal for the temple, I think of this man right here. I think of Russell M. Nelson, and really I think of any prophet who has a desire to be able to help the people get to the temple. Great quote from President Nelson that shows his passion and zeal for the Lord's house. I plead with you. When a prophet of God says plead, that's eagerness, that is devotion, that is fondness, that is fire, that is zeal. I plead with you to take a prayerful look on how you spend your time. Invest time in your future and in that of your family. If you have reasonable access to a temple, which for the record, President Nelson's doing a fantastic job of making the temple more accessible. If you have reasonable access to the temple, I urge you, there's another word there, I urge you to find a way to make an appointment regularly with the Lord, to be in his holy house, and then keep that appointment with exactness and joy. As I'm reading that, I'm listening to President Nelson in my mind say this with that zeal and excitement for the Lord's house. So this story, I don't personally think it is being characterized correctly to say Jesus was angry. I do believe Jesus had a passion and a zeal for his Father's house. And we would do well to be able to have a similar passion for the Lord's house in overturning those things in our lives that maybe do not belong there. And what do? We focus on the temple and have that zeal for it. I love that message, and I know it's true. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks as always for sharing. We love that you do that. Check out our amazingly comfortable gospel-themed socks at bombsocks.com. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Godspeed. Bye-bye.